I call the Town of Brattleboro Development Review Board meeting to order. It's June the 17th. We have minutes from the prior meeting, May the 20th. I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes from May the 20th.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Does anybody have any comments relating to the minutes of May the 20th? Okay, there being no comments or no changes to these minutes, all those in favour of accepting the minutes?
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I abstain.
You did make the motion to approve, right?
The motion to approve the minutes, yes. Thank you very much. At the DRB, we hear applications for land development in the town of Brattleboro and appeals of the zoning administrator's decisions. Procedurally, the Development Review Board operates on the record. Broadly, this means that we take a clear record of testimony from the applicant and any interested parties and then issue written decisions with our findings. Applicants and members of the public should be aware that as we are on the record, this is your opportunity to comment and provide evidence relating to an application. If our decision is appealed to the Environmental Court, the court will not take additional testimony at its hearing, but will look at the evidence from our hearings, the regulations, and to determine if the evidence supports this board's decision. So I strongly encourage all of you that are here to speak up at this hearing. Also, as we're on the record, we're going to ask that you affirm that your testimony will be truthful. So with the applicants and anyone wishing to speak to an application, please stand and affirm the following. You could, if you wish to speak to an application, or you think you'd like to speak to an application, if it's a maybe, then stand up. Okay? I hereby affirm that the evidence I give in the cause under consideration should be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury. I do. Thank you very much. Applicants require a majority of the full board to succeed in an application. That means that you have to get 4 votes out of 7. If we do not have a full board present to hear application, then we will consider a request to continue your application to the next meeting. I believe that tonight there will be 1 or 2 recusals, so the number of the board may drop below 7. But we can discuss that, if you wish, when your application comes up. Brian, is the meeting properly warned?
Yes, it is.
Good. Do we have any disclosures of conflict of interests or ex parte communications from any member of the board?
Mr. Chairman, my firm represents and has represented in the past the applicant under 2013-086 and 087, and I will be recusing myself for those matters.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, application 2013-085 is a personal friend of mine, and I will be recusing from that application.
Thank you. Any other member of the board have any conflict of interest? Okay, with that in mind, I appoint for the appropriate applications the 2 alternates to hear application in the case of Michael, all applications this evening.
All of them, right?
Sorry?
You hear all of them, right?
All of them, and in the case of David, obviously all but the one that you're recusing yourself from. Okay, I have one last comment. This is the last meeting of a normal yearly or annual schedule. The board changes by, I don't know if it's appointment of new members next month. And we have 2 retiring members from the board who have served for, I think, 9 years. Dr. Jar, this is your
Well, I thought I had one more year to go, no?
Do you? You're hoping?
He does.
He does? Oh,
Was yours and Catherine's?
Mr. Bannon, is Dr. Chard stepping down this time round or not?
I'll confirm it with the town manager's secretary. I had thought so, but
Oh, we may be not saying goodbye to you. I don't know. I had, for some reason, I had felt that it was your, it was 9 years for you. I could be wrong.
Was your first year as an alternate or as a 3-year member?
I came on initially, I think, as a full member. Yeah. I just, my reason I say that is that I think that I looked at a letter of reappointment, which would suggest I had one more.
Well, needless to say, Dr. Chard, we thank you for your service profusely. And should you be back with us next year, then fantastic. If you're not, then we appreciate all the time and effort and energy that you put into it. And then Catherine Turnus is not with us tonight, and she is will not be back onto the board next year. So we thank Catherine for her time on the board. So with that said, let's move forward. I open the public hearing and call application 2013-085, which is Ellen Schwartz and Dorothy MacDonald. Now, could you come forward and sit on the table up there? And if you'd like to. You want to be back? Oh, yes. Thank you. I was wrong.
So it was the internet.
Internet must right. Please tell us about your application.
Well, we're planning on, we'd like to put an apartment in. We have 2 unused storage rooms that are inside our apartments who are tenants in common. So we have a 2-family house. And there's a back room for each of us that we aren't really using. And we want to add an apartment with using those 2 rooms and to extend it through where the garage shed was attached to the house and add a 3rd room there to make it a 3-room apartment, 1-bedroom apartment to rent.
So this is existing structure
Yes.
that you're converting into use as an apartment.
Yes.
Okay. And are you changing the footprint of the property at all? It's staying.
No, the shed was originally a garage attached to our house. It has a concrete floor. It's part of the footprint of the house. It's attached to the house.
So
We'll be changing it, but it'll still be on the footprint of the house.
Okay. Just for me, we have a hand-drawn
Yeah.
plan of your house and lot.
Yes.
You're not referring to the garage that says garage.
No.
You're referring
That's
to
a
this
separate-
section.
That's a separate building, and that's a garage.
You're referring to the section at the rear of the property.
Right. That's right.
Okay. Thank you. And we have here some architect's drawings showing what it's like now and what it's proposed to be like. So if I'm to read this correctly, you're going to put a little dining room, living room, kitchen, bathroom, and presumably a bedroom on
Yes,
the
one-bedroom
rear.
apartment, yeah, with a kitchen.
And this zoning for this area is multifamily, Brian?
it's residential.
Residential, but we can have 3 apartments in it.
3 apartments is a permitted use.
3 apartments is a permitted use, okay. And what are the restrictions for a 3-unit dwelling? It's 8,000 square feet,
Yes, that's correct.
and your lot exceeds 8,000 square feet.
Excuse me?
The size of your lot exceeds 8,000 square
Yes,
feet.
it's 8,260 feet, I think.
Okay,
I think it's in there.
It's 8280.
8280. Okay. And the issue, if any, we don't have. Do we have to grant waivers because of the setbacks? No.
There's no change in.
No change in non-conformance.
Yeah, there's no change in anything around the building at all.
Okay. I have no other questions. Does any other member of the board like to?
Mostly to satisfy my curiosity. So it looks as if the second floor apartment will have access to the attic. And then,
That's correct. That's
and
correct.
then, so that'll be common access to the attic. It won't be.
Yeah, we would have to go
separated.
through that upstairs apartment to get to the attic, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And
but
I
we
was- I
don't,
was
it's
wondering
not
why
a
there are
finished
two
attic.
I was wondering why there were two stairs.
Yeah, there is an
Okay.
attic up there. We don't really use it for anything. It's closed.
Okay.
I mean, we don't, it's not a finished attic.
How many parking spaces will you have?
We have about 6 or 7, actually. It's a huge, as you'll see from the drawing, it's a huge driveway. It's got the dimensions are on that hand-drawn piece. You'll see how big it is. 2 cars can fit easily across 3 times. And we have another space between the garage and where the apartment will be, which is an additional space that we don't even use for parking unless there's people over at our house, lots of people over at our house. There'd be a lot of people.
So, you need 4 parking spaces, and you say you have 6.
We have 6,
Okay.
yes.
It's really not the jurisdiction of this board, but I was surprised to see the chimney not above the eave or the ridge on the house.
Yeah, I'm not an architect, but we were talking about that, but as it turns out, we're not going to put a wood stove in that
Oh.
area. So it's moot point, but
Oh.
if we decided not to do that.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Any other member of the board have questions for the applicant?
Any outside lighting being added?
We have a light that's on the porch of each of our outside doors, just a little light right by the door to get in. And there's a light that goes on between our garage and the back door. And that's the only lighting we have.
So nothing new,
Nothing is going to
other
change.
than maybe an entrance light for the third apartment?
Yeah, it's possible we'll put a light right next to that door for the same reason, but it's very small. It's a regular light bulb. It's nothing high intensity.
That's the door at the rear of the building.
Right. That would be.
So it's shielded from the street anyway.
That's right. It's between the garage and our house. It's quite a bit back from the street, matter of fact.
Okay. Would any members of the public like to speak to this application?
I know somebody over there.
I'm not sure that qualifies as speaking. That's gesturing, I think. Gesturing. What do we say here?
On this side?
Either or. Yeah. Looking for a motion.
Motion to approve application 2013-085.
Thank you.
As submitted with the condition involved.
And seconded. Any further comments from members of the board? All those in favour?
Hi.
Aye.
Those against? I abstain. 501. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good luck with your
Thank you.
plans and development.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Can I come back sometime now?
Yes, you can. Okay, I call application 2013-086, John Brunel, Black Mountain Estates. This is the fun part, John. This is where I ask you to tell us about your application, and if you could keep it to under 50 words, it would be really good.
You got it. So we're all in for the final plat. This is all about the Black Mountain Estates, and
Yep.
Lori and I are going for the final permit.
Perhaps for the benefit of BCTV, I'll just say John Brunel is going through the processes of applying for PRD. We're in the final stages of the PRD process. We've gone through, I think, what's called concept review. We've gone through sketch plan early on. We've gone through preliminary plat. We've gone through local Act 250. He has gone and got approvals from various state bodies and so on and so forth, and now we're back to deal with the final aspects of site plan approval, final plat.
And there's a couple more pieces of information here. We did get the stormwater runoff during the construction permit, and we got the stormwater runoff for the project permit.
Okay.
So those are two big DEC permits that came in. And here's a response letter from Bill Jewell on.
That's already in our package, that one.
Oh, it is.
These may be too, but I don't think so. So that's good. I'll enter those into evidence.
Okay.
So perhaps, just for the benefit of the board, the public, and if you could just give us a very, very quick synopsis of where we are, and then in particular, the changes, if any, from preliminary plat through to final now. I mean, there are some elements of the project that I think have moved a little bit, and we'll perhaps should be aware of those.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was trying to think of that tonight when I was loading these plans. I don't think a whole lot has changed, except we have actually gone to the state, and there's 5 permits you need from the state. There's the 2 permits that I just handed in. There's the wastewater permit, which we're expecting in a couple of weeks. They're backlogged up there, but it's all set. And there's the Act 250, which is posted right now as a minor, and June 26th that should come in. So we've been working on that. The state Act 250 should get approved. And then there's Vermont Public Safety Occupancy Permit, which is just the buildings themselves. So there's 5 permits. We're well on our way to getting all of them. Don't see any problem with them since I last was here. I don't think we changed anything. I think we might have fine-tuned like the lighting. Not really too much more. There were some landscaping changes that were recommended, we've made. But as far as the structures or the plan or the shape or any of that, I don't really think there was any changes since the last meeting.
Okay.
I can't think of any.
Refresh my memory, are you on town sewer?
Yes, yeah, and it's town water and town sewer, and the sewer is actually goes to a pump station now, but they're I think in the process of drilling under 91 as we right now they've already started it. So we're all set with sewer. We're going to tie into the new system when it comes in, or the other one. And there's plenty of water up there. I needed a certain amount, and they had like way more.
They had way high water pressure.
Yeah, they got a reservoir up top somewhere for the 1 million gallons.
Did we do it?
Yep, it was town water and sewer. I'm pretty sure Steve Barry has approved all the fittings and plans and all the infrastructure, utilities.
Yep. We have a letter in the application that has Public Works signing off on the plan as drawn.
Yeah.
One of the things that I felt may have changed, but excuse me, I'm not sure, is that in this you have an area in the center of the development.
Yep.
Which is I guess we'll determine a catch basin or a recreational area in the middle.
Yeah.
Perhaps I wasn't paying attention to the shape and depth of that before.
Yeah.
But it does. There was a note in something somewhere that I read that talks about an 8% grade down into that bowl or into that catchment area.
There's a couple retaining walls down in there, right in the back here. But for the most part, all of this is usable land. It's
Okay.
In a 100-year flood, it may flood, and if it does, it's only those courts, those shuffleboard courts and picnic tables and things like that. So if it does do that ever, and I doubt it ever will, we're okay.
That really was the basis of my question. Is I had recalled talking about it as a recreational area or somewhere where people can go out and walk and exercise and take the dog, and then all of a sudden I see it had an 8% grade, and I wondered if it had just turned into a catchment basin purely for the benefit of the stormwater system.
No, it was always that way, and we were always aware of where the drop-offs were and what we could work around them. And there's benches in there and trails, and there's flat areas for the courts, and there's everything in there.
Okay, now again, in relation to that central area, could you? There's a proposal to fence it, I believe, and then there were some comments from the planning department or staff relating to landscaping in that area or treating that area landscaping. Can you comment on that at all?
Yeah, we'll do it like we do everything. It'll be beautiful when we're done, but there will be fencing because it's really important to me to give people privacy from parties or from visual or anything. Give them real privacy in their backyards. But there'll be landscaping on both sides of the fence all the way around. There'll be sections of fence shown and then sections closed off with greenery. And
what kind of fence are you proposing? I mean, one of the things that one would hope that you could sort of, I mean, and I appreciate your comments about privacy, but we're sort of also hoping that we have something that is, a nice open area that gets used and that people can.
I want this to get used, and I don't want people to walk around there and look into people's patios and see what they're doing and then see their bedroom windows. So I want that solid, like a vinyl solid fence, but it'll have green, plantings around it, so it doesn't look like you're in a stockade, backyard. But basically, it needs to be privatized pretty good.
Okay. And
separated. I mean, you can have people cutting through at night in the dark, or there could be, weddings out there, or not weddings, but probably, I guess could be some weddings, but, there could be reunions and stuff like that, or anniversaries or stuff like that that'll be taking place out there.
So your intent or plan at this point in time is to put a solid fence all the way around, just to prevent people from walking through each other's back lots, gardens or whatever.
Yeah,
and then
I might not even be a solid fence. Originally, it was going to be like fence and then solid bushes and then fence. I had it half and half, and then it kind of got changed around because my original landscaping plan wasn't approved, and then Bill kind of worked on different ends. But I think this is, it's basically the same thing. He's got a lot of plants around the fencing.
I think for me at this point, I think that maybe a review of that fence structure and the landscaping that you might put, Bill might care to take a second look at it with you in terms of how you achieve your privacy yet don't end up with something that looks like the inside of a prison yard.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm right with you. And if we come up with something different, that's better, we certainly will. I just basically want to show you that I need to do something with privacy there, but if it's arborvitae's, put in a row, and then some other hemlock or something that stays there all winter and does the same thing, that'd be fine too. It doesn't have to be a security issue. I don't think it's gonna be anything like that.
It's more of a visual screen.
Visual,
Okay.
I can stagger stuff and do some things like that so it doesn't go in a straight line. I'll come up with something that really looks good.
And I did have, I actually had a number of other questions. Can you just go back to the road? The road. We've got a lot more information now on the road grading and road sections, and it's all in place. The road is being built to town approved standards, with the exception of the width thing, maybe.
No, it's with the width thing.
Oh, with the width thing.
Yeah, no, there's no exceptions. It's town. They actually approved the 20 feet wide and the 18 feet wide. It's 20 feet on the main entry coming in, and 18 feet around the top. And Steve says that's what he would recommend. He said any wider than that, they're going to race around there. So
okay.
He said that's what he recommended. We actually talked to them before we even designed any of the roads or anything because we wanted it. That's why all the curbing and the sidewalks, and they wanted raised curbs on one side, and then the stormwater sheets off the other side. And that was all part of, town stuff that they like,
Is it one way in the circle?
No, it's both ways.
Can you talk to me a little bit about the open space and common land?
Yeah.
And what? Just go to the bigger plan. What we're doing with that?
Yeah, and this is really pretty good. This cornfield is being drawn up right now by our attorney, and that's going to be set aside, 8.4 acres. That's going to be under conservation deed restrictions.
That's
on its own lot.
conservation easement? That's what the
It's not even just an easement, it's going to be split right off, and it's going to be its own lot.
So you're going to subdivide it
Yeah,
off?
per the town's request.
Okay.
And they want that on its own deed, on its own lot number, and 8.4 acres. So I had done it, but I did it at 6.5 because somewhere I read 6.5 and I thought that's what it was. But I found out after I read through the thing that it was 8.4. So they're going to change it. That'll be ready in a couple weeks. From about here up to here, the wildlife people wanted us to conserve for deer. But we can still walk through there with the trails and everything. We just can't walk through this part in April. From December to April through the deer wintering area, right in this area. But all of this common space right here is all full of trails. I actually took a quick look at it, and it's actually over 2 miles from here, around, back down, up through here, and all the way around our perimeter of our property is just over 2 miles. That's quite a bit of trails and walking, and they're all pretty flat. They're all through here is real flat. So there's a lot of good hiking trails and cross-country trails, and there's quite a bit of green space all around there.
And that let's just to be clear, that you've got conservation space which is being separated off as a separate lot.
Yep.
And there was a request from the town attorney to do that, or from the town to do that,
Somebody in the
or us, this board.
Yeah, I think you guys. So make sure there's wording in the deed, or maybe the tax people wanted us to. They wanted all this lumped into one lot, all these made into one lot, and this one made into a separate lot. So that's what we've done. They wanted the 8.4 acres for the cornfield on its own lot.
I don't think that would have been a requirement of this board. What this board needs to see is that the common land, it's called the common land or the conserved land, is put under a separate easement with, the control of that being to, a trust or the town of Brattleboro, or whoever you decide. I think in this case it wouldn't be the town of Brattleboro. It would be some form of trust that you set up to define the purpose of the common land and to put it in perpetuity, and then also
really necessary here.
I think so.
This is because I can't ever build on this. This is already in a restriction for deer. This is in a restriction for ag soils, and this is in a restriction for stormwater. So I'm not sure what you're trying to get me to put in there that would just be the recreational space for the development. Is that, you mean like, you want me to say that everything in this circle's recreation and this is recreation and this is recreation?
Well, as a part of the PRD process,
right?
A certain for the doing the development in a way that we are, as a planned residential development, there's a requirement that a certain amount of the space is put into common land or common usage. And it's someone was concerned, and that's all. That's why you're having your deed. I mean, I saw some deed documents in here, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of from a lot of detail from this point to this point to this point to this point, and to be honest, I didn't follow it through. But
it's not in there.
Well,
I mean, for the recreation space isn't separated out in the deed yet.
So what, when we've got deed description, merger deed of remaining lands, what was
Right.
that
was what we were supposed to do, put all the remaining lands, not the cornfield. They wanted the 8.4 acres on its own lot. I think the tax people, the property tax people asked us to do this. I'm not sure who asked us, but somebody had asked us to put in 8.4 acres on one lot and then merge these 3 lots. It was too confusing, and part of this was in another lot, and so they wanted us to merge these 3 lots, which, of course, we bought these 2 separate ones and then this separate.
Yep.
So there's 3, and then we bought this with this one, so it became very confusing. I think they want us to just do 1 lot here and then merge the other 3. I know that's what they want.
just 1 second, John. Brian, can you speak to this? Because I don't recall this as being a requirement of this board, apart from deeding common space.
Yeah, the town clerk did want them to rationalize the numbering of the parcels, and it was a condition to merge the areas that are to be developed into a common parcel with a single tax map number.
Those were all conditions that were according to this, 2012-115.
Right, exactly.
Including that and the draft easement, which is part of this paperwork. Is that correct? That's what's in there, all that draft language. That's his draft easement, right?
Yeah.
All right, so.
Yeah, and on there, it said that you have to put 8.4 acres into this and then merge the other parcels.
I certainly recall the merging. We had because you had 2 or 3 the where you're doing the residential development, the houses.
Yeah.
That was what, 2 lots or something before, or 3. I can't even remember now. We had asked you to merge those. I recall that. Which could, because we didn't want separate lots with 1 PRD across separate lots. So we put all that together. I don't recall asking you to split 8.4 acres out.
I think that might be more of a requirement of the Act 250 permit.
Maybe that's where
They
it came
do
from.
want some.
No, I don't know what it was. I mean, I could
They
make
didn't necessitate subdividing it off, but they did want something preserving it. And I don't recall the exact language they used, but.
Yeah, but this was a town thing. This was, what would number 13 mean right here to you?
This is today's which.
Brian sent it
Okay, he sent us.
a week
Okay,
ago or so.
Okay. This week's. This is the draft findings for this meeting tonight. Okay, so 13. The applicant has provided the Mylar showing the parcels merged and drafted descriptions in conformance with condition 7. Let's read condition 7. This is the last condition 7. A conservation easement for the 8.4 acres.
Condition 7 of the previous decision from last year, 2012-115. Right, because that's when you decided all that.
Right,
Last year's
right,
application.
right. Yeah, so it must have been one of the conditions from the last meeting, the preliminary.
Well, actually, the next 4 items in that findings of fact are 5 items, 6 items,
Refer to that.
8 of them in total, refer all to conditions 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 of 2012-115.
And do we,
Brian, do you have 2012-115 with you?
No, but I'll go get it to him.
Yeah, let's go get it. Let's go get that and we'll look at it and then go. Because those were, John, they were conditions that we had put in a preliminary plat. You know, thou shalt, or whatever, And I have to confess, I don't remember.
yeah, I don't either. Only
Exactly.
thing I could think is maybe you guys didn't want this in the PRD.
Hey, can I say something?
Yeah.
What I think is, I think in the past, we have, I'm trying to follow what you're saying to him here. Seems like in the past, we've had other developments come and we've asked them to, conserve a portion of that piece to the conservation easement.
Correct.
I think is what's confusing here the fact that he's actually separated the whole separate piece for that instead of it being
I'm not getting
part of
any
his-
credit. I'm not getting any credit for giving up my 8.4 acres for that.
Right, is that what they're doing? Are they still asking him to still conserve a portion of the primary piece, even though he's separated the 8.4 off? Because if you look in today's findings of fact and condition, number 7, it says a conservation easement for the 8.4 acres of primary agricultural soils shall be recorded in the Brattleboro land records. That says a conservation easement. That doesn't say that he had to separate it, or that's not written that way.
I don't think it has to be separated.
I don't think High Point was separated. I think it was just there was an easement when they did High Point.
For portions of it.
Yeah.
Was there was one area, is that correct?
I believe so, yeah. And I think there was an area that they added on to the Memorial Park in the end. But
Well, I'm just saying, if he's already sliced off his conservation easement portion of that, he shouldn't have to slice another piece out of, is that what you're asking him to?
Well, I was of the impression, looking at these plans, that there are sections on here that have been marked that way.
As a separate section?
Oh yeah, around the residential development. Maybe I'm missing the...
In addition to the 8.4?
There were green sections here, all this stuff here. Green here. This refers to... oh, that's erosion.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, that's erosion. Sorry, wrong plan.
Yeah, okay.
There's a requirement. I'm just trying to find it in the rules.
is it the section 5452G?
G. Thank you. Yeah, say all common open space development rights must be conveyed to the town or a funded trust to the covenants or deeds of the individual property owners in the PRD or to a homeowners association. So really, what they're saying is that there's the portion of open space or conserved land. You have to define what they are.
Yep.
The extent, there has to be a deed that defines them, and it has to, it can include the banks, the streams, the whatever it is, whatever. But that open space shall not be less than 50% of the net area of the property, and the net area of the property is defined. I'm going to get this wrong too, but it's defined as the area of the housing. Correct? No, let's find out what. Let's go to net area. No, wait 1 second. That's a subdivision criteria, net area. I'll be right back with you. I shall be right back with you. Subdivision. Brian, do you have to...
It's the area of the parcel minus the area of the roads.
Say again?
It's the area of the parcel minus the area of the roads.
Okay. So... John, by the way, I think you've got the land there and you probably got it marked. And just that we will need to get this into a document that goes to the town attorney and just gets signed off. I believe that's the case, Brian, is it? I mean, there isn't anything to believe that you're not going to conform with.
No,
but we just
already. I mean, there's quite a bit of space that's open anyways.
So open space is required and should not be less than 50% of the net area of the property. And Brian is, even though I couldn't find the definition quickly, Brian has defined the net area as being the residential portion minus the roads, which sort of makes minus the infrastructure, if you like.
What would that be, like around here? Around here? Like, or just the areas of each home?
That's why I'm looking for.
The yards you think would be open space, but that might not count.
But that's no. But those are going to be under the control and they're private. We're talking about common open space that's there for the benefit of the. I'm going to use maybe the incorrect community as a whole.
And open doesn't necessarily mean.
Yeah.
Is that one right there?
Yeah. Have you got
the space you're talking about?
Yes. What plan is that?
You
already have the plan.
Required for Act 250. You have to reserve a bunch. You have to reserve a bunch of conservation credit just to get your stormwater.
That's a similar thing, or the same thing that we're talking about now, which is why I say you've already done it. But I didn't see a deed or a. Has that been deeded?
No,
those areas.
This really isn't common space for the use of the people, like I think you're talking about. This is just area that you're giving credit for that you're not disturbing, I think.
Correct. But let me read further, just so you understand. Open space should be devoted to planting, patios, and recreation areas that are accessible and available for the individual and collective use and benefit those occupants of the development. They don't have to be football fields. or frisbee fields or,
Right.
or recreational fields.
Right.
It can be landscape. You
Yeah.
know, it can be there's a very specific point here that says that open space may include, stream areas, bodies of water, drainage easements, slopes in excess of 25%. Well, 25% is a steep slope, so
Right.
it's just to have some amount of.
You're saying this greened out space, it can definitely be that space.
Yes,
Well,
absolutely.
Now, what do you think you're defining the area of the residence? I mean, what does it mean, the residential area, 50%? Like, it can't be any less than 50%. What is residential area, the square foot of the houses or the, oh no, it's the lots too, you said.
Yeah.
So it's basically that big strip around there. So we can figure that out from the fence.
Looking at that,
Yeah.
the green areas are probably 50% of the area already.
Yeah.
Already, those green areas you've marked.
Maybe I can.
So you're saying you could likely just use those spaces
Yes.
designated there
Yes,
as his
yes.
conservation easement within the project?
I'm saying that off the cuff. I think so.
In the common space in the middle there.
Yeah, I'll probably do the real common spaces and everything that I'm gonna do anyways, just so I have it in there. I mean,
Yes.
if I ever do, if we ever do wanna split it into condos someday or something, you're gonna want that wording anyways to be correct.
Correct.
So that's a good thing.
So we'll put as a condition of final plat, we'll put something in there that covers the definition of the. I mean, we use two phrases: common space and open space, or common open space.
Yep.
Brian's going to shoot me now, but we will put a finding in there, or a condition, or potentially a condition in there that makes sure that you define that in an easement, and that also there has to have. Once this common space is there, let's say we have this area in the middle, there has to be an agreement that someone's going to mow it, or if it's that kind of space,
Right.
or that someone's going to maintain it. It's not
Right.
just to go back to weeds.
Right.
So there's an agreement and it could be part of a homeowner's agreement. Every homeowner has a $50 a year assessment that covers the maintenance of the common areas. I mean, that's perfectly legitimate to
Right.
have to have some homeowner's structure that covers the maintenance of this area that's been
Yeah.
put into or defined as open
So does
space.
the town need something that shows who's maintaining that space?
No.
Right, because I'm going to be doing the
No.
mowing,
No.
plowing on, so
No.
you don't get involved there. You just
No,
basically.
no. We just want to know that it's the use of the space, and that it's in perpetuity. You can't turn around in 3 months or 6 months or
Right.
3 years and say I want to put 5 more houses on it.
Right, exactly.
As nice as it might be, it's like, no, sorry, that land has been set aside and designated as common space.
Yeah, good. No problem.
Were there any changes to landscaping? I think Bill had addressed in his letter. He just said that he had taken the tree committee's recommendations and responded.
Yep, and he gave this.
And he gave us this letter.
I think you got that copy, but you might have in the
Okay.
package. But he's been going back and forth.
I mean, for me, I think the landscaping plan has been very thorough. So, and it's really well thought through. And I commend you for putting this much energy into it. Really.
Thank you.
Well, thank Bill too, and ask him when he's going to return to the board. Tell him we need people.
Isn't he Dummerston?
Yeah,
Oh, he's Guilford.
Guilford?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, his band's not allowed. Let's just go through this. So, was it a 6 or 7 we were looking at from the previous?
You got 2012 there?
Yeah.
2012 and 15. It started. At
It says
3,
parcels
not-
parcels 268, 266 shall be merged on the final
It talks
plat.
about 7 was about the merging and the deed descriptions. Condition 7.
Okay. Yep.
Did that say to divide?
Nope.
What about condition 8, where it talked about the draft conservation easement? Did it specify exactly what portion or where? Or did it say 8.4 acres? This,
No, it doesn't say 8.4 acres at all. So we had asked you, in 7, we had asked you to merge the areas under one parcel. So 268 was to become a part of 267, which you're doing. And then it says 8 was the plat application shall contain draft language for the deed descriptions for conservation parcel. Tax map number 268-120, whatever that is, because we've got to look at that.
is that referencing the 8.4, you think?
Nope, it may be, but it doesn't state 8.4. Areas of the parcel not intended for conservation shall be merged with tax map 267. So we had said that if there were areas, what was 268, Brian? Do you know? Is that the field?
I think it might be. I think the housing one.
I think the housing one was 267.
Yeah. So I think what we're saying is that areas that are not becoming conservation land. John, so we don't want sort of parcels just hanging out there.
Yeah.
So anything that's not a part of conservation land is just going to get merged into the, let's call it housing land, the residential land.
Yep.
So it's just a question of, I think you're done, but I think it's just a question of clean up. That's what we'd ask you to do.
Yep.
And then the final plat application should contain copies of the deeds granting rights of way for use of the secondary access road, which again you've done. You have an easement with your neighbours at SIT for use of that emergency access road to get in and out of there. Okay.
Yeah, and it's.
I saw that in the
It's a
documentation.
big one too. I mean, it's got every right. You know, it's 50 feet wide. Use it for everything I want.
Okay. Joe, were you about to say something?
I had a question. I was just reading that. John, you got this,
Yep.
the list of
Yep.
the conditions, right?
Yep.
You read that?
Yep.
On the back there in those conditions, they talk about the stormwater system shall be maintained in accord with the maintenance operations
Yeah.
plan. Annual
Did you get
certification provided to the town upon request. That plan was in with your
Yeah.
stuff here.
Yep.
Is there town stormwater drainage at the bottom of that hill on that side of the highway?
No, it's all my private stormwater drainage. Oh, you mean existing there?
Yeah,
now?
there's nothing existing down there now, is there?
Which
yeah,
bit are
it
you
goes
reading?
out there now. That's one of the places where it
Right
goes
at the
down.
bottom
I think-
of the
I think-
driveway there is, right?
You know,
Right,
Yeah.
but what does it do? It just tails off into the brook down there.
Yeah, it goes
Yeah, but-
That's it, right? So,
along.
it's not gutters and system.
Oh, no, it's just-
There's no infrastructure. It's just
No.
like,
Yeah.
it's the gravity infrastructure.
Yeah.
No, I think, let me back up. I'm not sure what we were trying to get, but
I was
he has just produced permits allowing him to let stormwater off-site into unnamed brooks. Ultimately, probably through the Crosby into the
Yeah,
into
right.
into.
It's a little one that comes in behind the
Yeah.
park there and one.
So his permits are in place for that.
Yeah.
I think what we wanted to be sure was that there are a number of catchment basins and retention basins, and there's a system
Internally.
on site internally
Yeah.
that are to work efficiently and well has to be annually
That's
cleaned up. That's all. You know, you've got to go in there and get the silt out of there, or go in there and do
Yeah.
that. And we want to be sure that there is a well-working stormwater system on site and working to the best of its ability.
Right, and that's also built to the town specs.
Correct.
In case they ever should take that over. or-
Well,
Yeah,
it's built to
well,
state
that's
too.
Totally state. And
Right,
That's excellent as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But it's a
Yeah.
question of you can't let it silt up, or you
No,
can't let the ponds
There's
fill.
a state requirement too to keep those.
That it's maintained.
Yes.
Okay.
All the silt basins and all that have to be cleaned out annually.
Was that what you were intending in the draft findings
Did you get a whole program of that?
from the state?
Yeah.
We got some document. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did read it too, I think. Or I read the covering letters that said you're okay to go unless somebody complains in 10 days. And the 10 days passed out like on the 30th of May or something.
Save yourself some reading.
Yeah, well, I take it that nobody complained or nobody raised public objections. I think that's a standard language that when they grant you a stormwater permit.
Yeah.
Okay. Correct. I mean, so just so we're clear, what we're doing today, or giving you, should this go through, which I'm hoping that it will, should we approve this final plat? What we're going to give you is to all intents and purposes, is a approval for infrastructure, approval for overall site plan, to allow you to proceed. What we haven't really looked at this point is the individual, the phases of development, because we had talked to you in either concept review or possibly preliminary plan. So how are you going to do this?
Yeah.
And you had stated that I'm going to put in all the infrastructure. I'm going to put the water in, I'm going to put the power in, I'm going to put the roads in, I might even put the concrete pads in for each of these houses, and then we'll progressively build it out. We'll build the community centre, we'll build the first 2, 3, 4 cottages, or however many you choose, and then it was my belief or understanding that you probably pause and see how it's going at that point, and then you move on to the next one, the next one, and the next one, whatever it is. So what I think we should do, rather than approve every cottage and every location and everything tonight, we're giving you overall approval that as each batch of, can I call it batch? As each block of building comes back, you say, okay, now I'm going to come back and build 10 more, or I'm coming in to do 6 or 8 more. Then you've got to come back to Brian and just put in for a zoning permit for that group of 6 or group of 7. What we'll issue you with today is a zoning permit. Well, not issue you with, but ultimately this will result in a zoning permit to do all of your infrastructure and the community centre and whatever it is that you've got on the first go round. You know, the first 2. I can't remember what it is, but the first 2, 3.
A little.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
pretty close to that.
do you have I mean, certainly you're going to do all the grading and you're going to do all that stuff, but we're looking at getting the water, the sewer, the power, the road, the appropriate levels of what do you call it? Landscaping. Where that done. I mean, clearly we're not expecting you to landscape something that's not built yet. So
this is where I'm at right now.
Okay.
I get approval from you guys, and I get my Act 250 approval, and my wastewater permit. Then we're going to start, and we're going to put the road in, and all the way to here, I want to put in, level it all, put it all to the storm systems and all the drainage and seed everything. And I'm going to build these 4 houses right here. And pave all of this. Pave all of this. And I'm going to have a model home. This will be all while we're building. These buildings will be going on while this is going on also. To prep this area first, and I can start the construction. So that I can start realistically giving people dates of when they can move in and signing people up. If I get to November and December and I've got the model home and I have a big open house and I do a big market blitz and I can't get anybody to rent, for some reason I can't get these rented out, I'll have to lower the rents or something, but I think the interest is there. We have over 100 people on the waiting list, so I'm not too worried about it, but I'm not gonna, it's gonna have to go, those are gonna have to rent first, and then I'm gonna go from there. And I don't plan on stopping, I just plan on going right through.
Okay, well, let's say in terms of the way that the town issues you zoning permits, what will result from the final plan? We're going to get you the infrastructure, which obviously means the grading and all that stuff that goes under it. Plus, let's say, for the purposes of this conversation, the first 4 houses. At what point do you do the community centre?
I think I'm going to do it after I've got these 4 rented and 4 more signed up. I think. And I'll tell people that when they rent it. If this for some reason doesn't work, for any, I can't imagine it not working, but I have to have a plan B. I may just have 4 houses up there if I can't rent them out.
Well, we would anticipate that even if you, perhaps not in November, but January, February, March, April next year, you get to move on to the next 4.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm hoping in a perfect world. I'll build these 4 and then I'll just build.
Keep going.
Yeah, I'll get 12 more and do 12 at a time, or 8 at a time, or whatever. do it.
Okay, so for each of those secondary phases, let's call them all secondary phases,
Yeah.
we're going to ask you to come back to Brian and say, I'm going to come back in and say, I'm going to do 8 more.
Yeah.
I'll need the zoning permit for the next 8 or
Yeah.
whatever it is, and I need the zoning permit for this, and then we'll keep control of the permitting process by
Yeah.
having you do, step by step, rather than go, the whole shooting match
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, all right, that's a good way to do it.
Maybe
Yes.
you can explain why we want to do this, have go section by section permitted rather than just
Well,
permit
because
the whole plan.
Brian will answer.
Yeah, because we've dealt with situations in the past where PRDs have been approved and then individual buildings have been either permitted as part of that original approval or permitted separately, and it's led to incomplete land records and title difficulties in the future because the actual permitting of the different buildings wasn't done in a clear way.
All right.
Well, if you're selling a house, you want to know that it actually had a permit to build.
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
In the past, we've had trouble with that.
Quite sure why any of those difficulties might arise in this project, but all right.
I think the other thing is this: is that permits have a lifespan of 2 years. If John doesn't complete the whole thing in 2 years, he's got to come back and do it again anyway.
And they also have improvement fees attached to
Yeah.
it.
I was going to mention.
Yeah, and yeah.
Hey, if I get the permit all at once to build them all, I got to give the improvement fees, and I don't know what they are for.
A lot of money.
A couple grand maybe or something.
Well,
So-
whatever.
Sounds
So
good.
so we're splitting. We're just allowing him to divide. If he says, I want to do all 34 at one go, and I'm going in there, and they're all going to be done by November, we'll do that.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be his suggestion was I'm going to do the first 4, put up the model homes, have the open house,
Yep.
then I'll put up the next 4 in the community centre, and
Okay.
that's the sort of staging. So we'll just
Satisfied.
we'll stage it. Brian will stage it. It doesn't come back to this board unless he decides that the first 4 have some reason not to be continued in terms of that plan, and he would like to do something different. Let's say he comes back and says, "Well, actually, these were all. Everyone came in here, and they're all 1 bedrooms, and everyone's asking for 2 bedrooms. I'm sorry, I got to do 2 bedrooms," or vice versa.
Right.
And then he's going to come back in here and say, "Look, I got to put an extra bedroom on every one of these. Please, can you review the plan with me?" And we'll do it.
And the thing with doing it in parcels, Brian's really good about
Yeah.
quick turnaround. I mean, really good. So it's not going to hold up. I don't feel, and I don't have to come back to you guys
No.
and present all this stuff.
Nope.
I just got to give him the normal.
Okay. Everybody's happy with this arrangement?
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other questions from members of the board?
Yeah, I have
Yes.
one question. I was cleaning up heaps and piles of paper at home, and I ran across one on sprinkling. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you're planning on putting sprinkling in, because the cheap time to do it is when you're building the
Yeah.
structure.
Not in the homes, it's not required. And it may or may not be required in the community center. Brian met me, Brian Johnson, the state public safety guy. We work together every week on different projects. And he couldn't tell. He said, "This is so close, I don't know if you have to sprinkle it or not." And I said, "Well, if it's too close, I'll just sprinkle it. It's 1 building, it's not a big deal." So he was gonna let me know on that one, so I don't know, I probably have to sprinkle that. But the homes themselves won't be sprinkled, but they'll be state-of-the-art, hardwired detectors. And there's gonna be a lot of options available to the people for medical reasons.
As your plan is submitted, did it have it as sprinkled?
No, it didn't have
Because
to be
there's a
sprinkled.
letter in here from Mike Picasso saying that he's satisfied that your plan is complete.
Yeah, and that's the fire hydrant part of it. Making sure they were close enough. He wanted 2 of them, and he wanted one, where he didn't have to drive over his hoses and stuff like that. But he was great. We put him where he suggested.
He didn't say anything about the sprinkling, no?
Nope, none of the buildings, each building. Actually, even a long time in the very beginning, I talked to the public safety and them about it. And their big thing was if you can keep them, 15 feet apart or whatever on the occupied side, they didn't care about the carports. And we got them like 22 feet apart. They said that gives us plenty of room, or it doesn't, something about the heat or something, I don't know, but, so we talked about all that before we started.
Any member of the public wish to speak to this application?
Unfortunately, we're here for the last one.
Yeah, it's often the way. The ZA does that. You can't win. If we put yours first, then there would be somebody else at the end. I know. All right. Brian, this is just final plat, right? Can you remind me?
Yes, that's
Just,
correct.
my paperwork is. Thank you. Oh, my paperwork's blue. I did it blue so I could find it. Yeah, that was good. So we've got final plat approval for planned residential development with 30 cottages. Is it 30 or 34?
It's 31. It was 34. I took 3 out to give more recreation room. So it's 30 and then one larger one up on the hill.
So we've got 30 cottages, one other dwelling.
Yep.
Okay, one community centre, one maintenance shed, and site improvements at Buttonwood Hill Road.
I have one question, just out of curiosity. Will each one of those homes have a new Buttonwood Hill address, 901 address?
Yeah, and
Or will they be new roads named? Will you name it a new road?
I kind of wanted to name New Road,
Yeah.
but I couldn't really be able to think of one. And
But you probably still have some time to...
yeah, Jane, somebody talked to me about it, and she said she'd get together. It had to be a certain name that was easy to say,
Yeah.
and then
not close
she's
to
going to
an
number
existing
the houses and the mailbox.
They'll have 911 numbers.
Yes.
You'll have to do it.
Yep.
But it probably could all be Button. It could all be.
She said it could be Buttonwood Hill. They prefer
Yeah.
because it's already in the system and everybody knows it. And,
It
but
just
she
is
said if I
gonna be-
really didn't like it and I really wanted it to be called something else, I could. But anything with Black Mountain in it would be confusing with Black Mountain Road. So I don't know. I may just leave it.
You could call the whole road just Buttonwood Hill,
Yeah.
all the way around.
Yeah.
And that's if the fire department, as long as the fire department can.
Yeah, that's
Find
what
it.
they want. They want
Yeah.
Buttonwood Hill, like, numbers 1, 2 through 30.
Oh, yeah.
Buttonwood. So probably what we'll do.
Actually, just before I had one. There's one other comment. I'll just quickly through the department. There was something to do with trails. You've got trails all over this thing.
Yeah.
And these are unpaved trails, is it?
Yeah.
Just regular trails.
The old logging roads.
The old
are like
logging roads?
pine needles now, and but they're pretty flat and they're pretty nice. And we're gonna fix them.
Is
all.
there any issue with erosion or water runoff from them?
No, they've been there 100 years or more. They're all established. There's nothing I even have to do except maybe, cut some overhanging limbs off or something.
Okay. In which case, I'm looking for a motion to approve the final plat for Black Mountain Estates, application 2013-086.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further comments from members of the board? All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? I abstain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 1. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys very much.
Yeah, so you'll get
Yep.
more paperwork.
Yep, that's okay. All good. Thank you.
That's right. You need a recess, Spoon?
Yeah,
Okay, looking for a motion to recess for about 5 minutes. 4 minutes.
So moved.
Thank you. All those in favour? Aye.
Aye.
Hello, everybody again. We're good?
Good.
I reconvene the Development Review Board meeting of June the 17th and call application and reopen the public hearing and call application 2013-087. Mr. John Brunel. The show continues.
Yeah, it looks just like the
Came
last
back for
guy
more.
up there.
Yeah. Glad somebody's keeping us busy. So, could you please tell us about this project?
I'm building a house for a guy named Alan Work, and it's a duplex, and it's on Chestnut Street at a lot that's been available for a couple of years. It's a small lot, and he originally was going to put a duplex in there because he's going to live in the back, and his mother is going to live in the front. And it's pretty expensive to develop a piece of land now in Brattleboro or anywhere. Everything costs so much money that he to offset his costs of building a house and living in a house there, he really needs some income to help him. And I know Brattleboro's encouraging making nice apartments, and so this house is a design that looks pretty good. I'm not sure if you guys got plans, but it looks perfect for the neighborhood. I basically designed it so that it would look just like almost every other house on that street. Almost every house in Chestnut Street has a gable, is a gable end facing the road. Some have a porch. This is going to be one of the nicer ones on the street, and 4 apartments fits in it beautiful. There's quite a bit of parking. Don't know if anybody looked at the site plan, but there's easy parking for 5 cars. Right now, there's only going to be 2 cars, his and his mother's. But if he ever was to rent them out for the other 2 apartments, he can easily fit 5 cars in there. Plenty of room for plowing. This is all wide open to the back here, so he can easily snow blow and plow. So that's what we're looking at. We're trying to get approval. I believe it's like zoned for 2-family maybe, and you have to get approval from you guys for 3 or 4-family. So we're going for that. And I think there's something about the square foot of the lot is just under, it's like 9,500 square feet. You need 10,000. Yeah. So there's a couple little catches we had to come in for. But it'll be a real nice looking.
So this is new construction. This is a
brand
building
new.
it was a vacant, empty lot, and it's on the south side of the street.
Yep,
is it?
it
I think
is.
I drove through there,
Yep.
and there's looks like a foundation and a backhoe in there.
Yes. Yeah. Now they're working on the second floor joists.
Okay. Well, yeah.
And when I was first looking at it with Alan, we looked at the rest of the houses on the street, and there's many multifamily houses with not really even adequate parking like this. It's really like cars that doesn't have areas that don't have this much parking. But so I think it fits right in with the neighborhood and everybody up there.
So at present, you have a permit for a duplex.
Yep.
2, one up, one down, or front,
one
back,
in the
or
back, and
back
one in
and
the front.
Back and front.
Yep.
And
The one in the back is 2-story.
that would require 3 parking spaces.
Yes.
And you've got a plan here that you're showing us. So should this board move forward with this application here,
Yep.
you would like to double go from 2 to 4. We're going to go from 2. No. We're going from 2 units to 4 units.
Yes.
All right, and then the car parking would go from 3 to 5.
Yep.
What's the front yard setback in this district?
26. Oh, is it
25?
Yep.
Let's do 26.
And we don't have parking permitted in the front yard setback?
For 3 or 4 dwelling unit buildings, that's correct.
Say that again. For a
There's no-
for a 3 unit or a 4 unit dwelling, should that be permitted? Then there should be no parking in the front yard setback.
Yep, it's only allowed for 1 and 2 family homes.
Okay.
So that's why we're going for the variance for that too, and
Waiver.
Waiver, but
the
that's all
waiver.
right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I try to get fancy, but so and then his mother can get out of her car and doesn't have to walk. She's elderly, so she doesn't have to walk too far across Tar. She can just go right up her walk and in her front door.
And for a three-unit development, it would be 8,000. Correct?
Yeah,
8,000 square feet. That's my hearings.
Lot 40 already has an existing building on it, is that correct?
Both of them and all three.
Yeah, this, I think it's the only empty lot on the street.
Because on the map, it shows both of those as being the site.
Yeah, it was two sites there. According to this map submitted with that, it shows Martin and Howell as owners. They previously owned both of those lots, the house on lot 40 and lot 38, and they separated those.
So that's because so that discrepancy is because this is a 2006 drawing. It's
Part of it.
6 years ago.
Were they always two lots and they were just contiguous because the same owner owned them?
No, they were always two lots. That's part
yeah,
of the
yeah,
SD subdivision.
yeah, it didn't change, yeah.
Years ago. They were always SD lots.
Yeah. See, she has a big upstairs and a big downstairs. They were both empty.
Yeah.
So he says she doesn't even go up the stairs or down, so
Yeah.
why couldn't I do something with that? And I said, well, you could. You got a huge space, top and bottom. So I don't know if you saw plans that were big enough to show you, or if you got them.
Well, I can do fine from
It really, John, it's not really tied to the. We're not really tying it to the current owner. It's with the.
Yeah.
In very rare cases, do we tie permits or permissions to owners? We have
Right.
done it, but or occupants.
Yeah.
This is should this be approved, we're tying it to the property
Yeah.
and to the structure. So
Yeah.
The current method of occupancy.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
No, we really.
Yeah. No, it's more. I would think you'd be
it's just
concerned with the neighborhood and the.
Is it going to be a 2-unit, 3-unit, or 4-unit? Kind of.
Yeah. Exactly.
However, though, speaking about the character of the neighborhood in terms of this parking out front, the neighboring lot also has a paved parking lot abutting right where his paved parking lot is going to be. So it's going to be two large paved parking areas right next to each other.
Which direction? The
Lot 40 has a paved parking lot that is going to be abutting their large paved parking lot.
Where's that, Bonos?
See,
Is he paving that?
it says paved drive.
Oh,
on
maybe
this
it is.
lot.
Maybe it is.
So it's going to be a large paved parking lot right next to it.
Well, we're probably going to fence that because they like to pull in a little far there, and it's kind of tight for them. Maybe I don't know, with the snow. We don't want any trouble. So any of the other lots I did, like on Winter Street, I just put a stockade fence there.
Okay, lot 40 is a single family.
No.
I don't believe any of those are they?
No, it's not. It's a full-on apartment house.
Lot 40
It's
is
a four?
Probably 3
It's
or
a 4-family.
Right. 4, isn't it?
I've got a list of the. I have a list of. If anyone want to see it, a list of the densities.
Oh,
The number of units per lot. Yeah, some are 4, but the majority of them are single. Actually, I think. A lot of them are single family.
Yeah, it's really mixed.
Sorry, it's a good mix.
Yeah, it is really mixed. There's some 4 and 5s mixed with a bunch of singles.
Okay.
So the utility easement goes under the parking area.
Yeah, and that's
That's
common. Okay. It's out in the road even.
So should what you're asking for right now is the opportunity to change from a 2 to a 4.
Yep.
Okay. For that we have to waive lot size. We would have to waive lot size by approximately 500 square feet.
Yep.
And we have to waive, or you're requesting a waiver for front yard setback parking to meet that.
Yep.
Is there any way the parking can be put back further? Or is not,
No,
not
because
possible?
the state required basement entry to have a full 7-11 pitch staircase, so I kind of had to close off.
Which one's that? That's the...
That's right back here.
Is there?
Yeah.
okay.
This little entry.
And that's because there's a basement apartment?
Yeah, and they wanted to be able to walk in there. No, there could be, if we get approval.
If you get approval?
Yeah. Actually, even if you finish it off, put sheetrock down there, they gotta be able to walk out to daylight. So,
So that's what the bulkhead there is on the side?
yeah, I knew he was gonna want to at least finish it off, so, it's a really nice basement, so.
So you can't go past that?
No, not, I mean, we could with one car, but
Right.
Then you can't
you
get
don't
out.
gain anything, because all you're doing is, you gotta leave it open for the car to get out, so you kind of, we own an apartment house. Actually, we own 3 of them right up in that neighborhood, and they all got parking lots like this kind of set up, and we never have any trouble with them at all. We got 4 cars and 1 down the road, and it's perfect, having any trouble at all.
Can you do a waiver for the minimum number of spots required?
John, I'm a little confused about the location of apartment 2.
Okay.
Here?
Yes. It's the upstairs and downstairs.
Oh, it's upstairs
Yeah.
and downstairs.
Yes,
All
and he
right.
comes in here and he goes up the stairs to there.
That
And this girl,
takes
this
care
girl
of
would come in and go on the porch and then go up to her apartment.
it. Yeah.
And this girl would come in the front
Yeah.
and be there, and the downstairs people would come in this and go down there.
Yeah. All right.
They're all nice, 700 square foot apartments and
Yeah.
nice, pretty nice. They're all for one person or one, maybe a couple. There's no 2-bedroom, so you're not going to have extra parking.
You're showing apartment
2
Two
does.
is-
Yeah, they got the 2 places. Yeah, for him and his son. So that's the big apartment in the back. That's why I figured to give them an extra parking.
John, can you just run it for me? So one of these is a basement apartment, or am I wrong?
Yes, one is. Yeah, the one on the
So
left.
the fourth one would, if you were to put a fourth,
Yep.
it would be a basement apartment.
Yep, they would come in right here, go in there, and there it all is.
And then that basement one,
Is there daylight? There's daylight into the...
Yeah, pretty big daylight, because they're egress windows from the state. We actually left it out in the foundation. We could cut it out later, and we left the blocks going, but we didn't fill them. You'll notice that I left it 14.5 feet off the side over there, so that if we do have to do an egress hatch window, they're called, they're really pretty cool. They
you
make
can
them
have a
now.
little thing over it.
Yeah, it won't get me into my non-conforming 10-foot side yard setback, so that's why
Like the
I'm so
electric
far
meter
off on
did
that
down the
side.
street.
Yeah, the electric meter down the street did. Right, so you see.
So you got 10 foot to here, is
Yeah,
what you're
so
saying.
if we do need to put this in right here for the egress, we got plenty of room.
But you can come out this side anyway.
Yeah, but you need 2.
Stereo.
For basement exit, for basement apartment.
Any bedroom now, any bedroom has to have an egress window.
All right. Any further questions from members of the board? Brian.
Tim, the last time the board granted a waiver for parking in a front yard setback, I think they approved a grass paving system to try and harmonize with neighboring properties. And if the board is going to grant a waiver here, they might try and do some sort of design to help
We may,
harmonize.
we may consider that. Would any member of the public wish to speak to this application?
Yes.
Please stand up, come forward to that microphone thing and give me your name and then...
My name is Julie Cunningham, and I live at 59 Chestnut Street, where I've been for 23 years.
And just 59 Chestnut Street
It's
is
directly across the street.
on the other side of the street.
Yes. Yeah. So, one, I appreciate all your work, and your work, John. And I appreciate your talking about the historic neighborhood that we live in, which is Esteville. And we have a few neighbors who went to the Esteville school, who are elderly, who I am thinking would not like that. We tried to talk to some of our neighbors who live exactly right next door to this property and the one down. But again, they're elderly and ill, so we weren't able to talk with them. We have one other neighbor who would like to be here. Basically, Judith and I, our family and Judith, we would be looking directly across the street at a parking lot. There's already, when Mel sold the lot, it was 3 bedrooms in the, I don't know what
This
number.
is lot 40 you're talking, lot 40.
Yeah. It went from 3 bedrooms to 4 bedrooms.
This is the adjacent.
Units.
Yes,
This is the adjacent
I'm
property.
sorry, not bedrooms,
Right,
units,
right.
yes. And each time someone in our neighborhood carves up something into more units, we have that much more cars in the neighborhood, traffic, and noise. And then, you know, I will be honest, it's hard enough to lose the lot that we had, you know, across the street from our house, just a beautiful empty green space where my children played. But now it feels like it's going to go from a 2-unit to 4 units with all that amount of cars coming out, in and out, directly across the street from our house, and it's going to just lower the quality of our life across the street. So that is my objection to it. Not having neighbors move in, not a duplex, but if it's a 4-unit, I feel like it's really going to affect us across the street.
Thank you.
Can I go?
Yeah, please come up.
My name's Jay Cook, and I live the same house as Julie. And in addition to what Julie's saying, a couple things. One, I didn't have a conversation directly with the owner, but Judith did, and he reassured us that this would be a 2-family house. So right away it feels like, oh, they're going behind our back. They didn't discuss this with us. They reassured us when they were moving in that this was going to be a 2-family unit. Secondly, we live in a small house. Our house is 1,900 square feet, right across the street. We have, right now, 2 kids living at home. Our bedroom is right on the street, and it's partly because of the size of our house. We just don't have a lot of room. So every time Mel, over in lot 40, I believe, every time he would add, is 40 the one just west of...
With the parking area I was talking about earlier,
Yeah. So every time he would add a unit, I mean, I think it's been 2 over the last 15 years. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, he added 2.
But every time he would add something, then the noise level in our bedroom would increase. Our house is right, I think, maybe 10 feet off the street. It's not that far off the street. So now there's going to be a parking lot, again, where we feel like they went behind our back on this. Thirdly, in a space of 3, so 3 houses on the other side of the street and 3 houses on our side of the street, Judas, ours, and then our neighbors, and then Mel's, the lot in question, and then the neighbor kind of diagonal from our house. Maybe it's 7 houses. So that would make 3 out of the 6 houses multi-family, you know, 4 units at least, I believe. And over 8 houses, that would make 4 out of the 8. So, to me, it's not like the rest of Chestnut Street. It's becoming this little area of Chestnut Street that is becoming more concentrated with multi-units, more than duplexes. I think that's it.
So can I just ask you, so you're next door, on your side of the street?
Yes.
I just have a list here of you're on one side of you have a 4-unit, and on the other side of you have a duplex?
59.
Well, unfortunately, I don't have numbers on it.
Okay.
Yeah, they're this one right
They're-
there, the second one in right
they're this one here?
Single, right, so you got.
Are you next door to Franz Reichland?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's,
Yeah, we're right next door to Franz.
So, did you say you're both number 59?
No, they're
Husband
60.
and wife.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
okay.
Judith will speak.
That's right.
And maybe clear it up.
So you two are at 59,
Julie and I are at 59.
which is next door to what used to be Sowers Market, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
And you're in Sowers Market?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
My brain is still on Frank Sowers and
Well,
next
you
door.
just, you just gave yourself away.
I just dated myself for sure, yeah. So I'm still looking for penny candy in there.
So they're in the single
That's
unit.
right, the single right there.
So you got a 4-plex on one side and a duplex on the other side, apparently.
Well, Judith
Well,
wasn't.
except that
You're not a duplex.
not,
Well-
technically we could be,
Yeah, you
Yeah,
did.
there's zone.
but
There's zone.
It's zoned for that.
for 15 years or more, we have not had.
Well, technically, every house on that street could turn into a 4-family because that neighborhood zone for a 3 to 4 family has permitted use in residential, right?
It can,
Yeah.
but they
As long as it's 10,000 square foot
Right, I know
lots.
that each one would need to meet something, but 3 to 4 is permitted, not even conditional, it's permitted in that neighborhood, correct?
in all residential
In all
districts.
residential,
Yeah.
right, so,
But the square footage is not adequate.
right, right.
Yeah. So just to clarify what Joe's just said is that
Yes.
depending on the square footage of the lot.
Mhm.
So if you have a 6,000 square foot lot, which is the smallest lot, maybe you said you had a small lot and then it's can be single family. It's restricted to single family. But if you have,
Right.
is that right?
Actually,
Duplex. Sorry.
It's right here.
1 or 2. Thank you.
Yeah.
For every unit above that, you technically, which is what part of this discussion is about, you need another 2,000 square feet. So if we have an 8,000 square foot lot, you could have a triplex.
Yes.
10,000 square foot lot, you can have a 4-plex or 4-unit apartment or 4-unit structure. And then
and that's all it's allowed.
that's all that's permitted. Permitted. You could come for something larger as a conditional use. 6, 8, 10, 15 block of, story, but then you need more square footage.
Right.
So the property across the street, which sits at 9,500 square feet,
Yeah.
technically they could have gone without coming to this board, I believe. No, sorry.
They'd have to get site plan approval.
Okay, so sorry, they had to go. But certainly a duplex was permitted, and then they can come as he's doing now for the board and say we could put in a 3-unit and
Yes.
request waivers for a 4. So it's kind of, even though the area immediately around you may not be developed that way, it is permitted for that to occur should landowners wish to develop that way.
For a 3-unit, it's permitted, not for necessarily for a 4-unit.
Well, for 8,000 square feet, gets you a 3.
Yes. So
If you come here and ask, please can I have a 3, and you've got 8,000 square feet, we don't have any grounds really to say no because it's allowed.
yeah.
The reason that John is asking now has come here, he could come in and ask for a 3, and we would go, okay. He's coming in and asking for a 4, but his criteria don't quite meet a 4. So we may or may not decide one way or the other. I don't predict the board at this point in time.
Right.
But just to go back to your point, it's that I know that you feel that the density is going up and up and up and up, and maybe right in the very section that you're living in, it feels like it's going more than perhaps the rest of the street, which appears to be 1s and 2s,
Yes.
all single families.
Right.
However, it is allowed.
Yes, I do understand that.
Okay.
And I think it was just the idea of do we have to take it and make the case like an exception and go, even though it's not 10,000 feet, make an exception and go for the 4.
The 4th unit.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, thank you very much.
Is your objection more to 4 units or more to the parking lot being out front?
Well, definitely the parking lot. I don't know what the rules are about that.
I think if they all agreed to walk everywhere, we wouldn't. I'm amazed that people don't walk more.
It's not. I have a book of rules here. It's that thick. There's nothing about walking in it. Unfortunately, perhaps in a future planning commission decision, there could be a lot about walking. Actually, we do talk about walking a little bit, but not in residential areas. And again, we can't tie it to individuals walking. It's tied to the property, generally speaking.
So the
all right.
parking is basically alongside Mel's. So it's going.
Here, you can. You want to see the? Here, take a look.
This is your house is here.
Yeah.
And you know, I might be able to do something too. So
this is Mel's.
yeah, this is Mel. You know how he parks like right here already now?
What?
I mean, they park like right there.
I'm pretty sure it gets, but it's probably only right near the line.
Oh, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love this house. It's going to be beautiful. No, it really is. It's gonna be big.
Yeah, there's no question. Seeing your plan
Okay,
about
so
how the house is going.
I need to bring this back to order. Sorry. Generally speaking, the way this works is that you talk to me and I talk to John. I'm very happy for you to go or I ask the applicant then that I'm happy that you've reviewed the plan with him. But you can see that in his proposal he's got 5 cars on the right hand side and 2 of them are fairly close to the curb and 3 of them are tucked back.
Okay.
Would you like to speak to this application?
Yeah.
Please stand up or come up.
Yeah, I'm Matthew. The same place. The one thing that I just
Which house you live in?
59.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm that kid. So
okay. That's a nice way of putting it. You really have rallied the troops, right?
Yeah.
Are you paying for dinner tonight?
So the only thing that I would just clarify is that yes, we recognize that about the 3 units that there's no reasonable that you guys don't really have, but for the 4th unit, we don't believe that you should provide a waiver for the 4th unit.
Okay.
That's just to clarify. So, and yeah, I mean, I think there's also like a legalistic argument. There's a reason why there's a floor, and I think that we should follow it in this instance. So.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Judith Bellamy, and I have lived at 63 Chestnut for 17 years. And my office is on the 3rd floor, which used to be a separate apartment, and for the last 14 years at least has been my office, has not been a separate apartment at all. So, but my window in my office overlooks directly the what is now new construction and what was a nice green empty lot. But what I'm curious about, and I've seen the house go up, but I was gone for 10 days from June 1st to 10th. And when I came back, it was only yesterday that I heard about this plan to increase the number of bedrooms, tenants, whatever. And I was totally shocked because Alan had, we had spoken, introduced ourselves, and he had said that it was going to be a 2-unit place for him and his mother so that he could be there to take care of her, and that his son was going to live with him. And then suddenly hearing that it was going to be like a commercial kind of venture was very surprising to me. But the other thing is I cannot understand where the driveway and parking is going to be. The house, the construction that's going up now is quite close to the street. And I haven't seen the plans. I just had that one glimpse just now, which didn't really, I wasn't really able to study it or follow it. But
Certainly, just let me help you here for a second, is that presuming the following, that it's being built to the plan as shown, which I have no question whatsoever, otherwise somebody will be asking him to move it or fix it. It's the porch is 26 feet back from the street. It may look closer right now, but the front of the porch is 26 feet back from the street. And
Is that from the street or from the sidewalk?
from the sidewalk. And the house itself, I'm going to guess, is probably 34, because you're going to have to take the porch, probably 8 feet, and I'm not scaling it.
It says 5 foot.
Oh, 5? So 31 feet. The face of the house, which would be the basement going up, would be 31 feet back.
Yeah.
31 feet's not a lot. It's probably, not much more than me to you. That wall. I don't have a tape measure, but I'm not very good at it either. But it's smaller than you think, and that would be from the edge of the sidewalk.
Well,
So I think possibly, if I'm hearing it, one of the things that has changed is that the current owner, Alan Work had a conversation as you do with your neighbours, and had let everybody know it was one thing, and now you're a little surprised that perhaps it's changing.
that and it also feels sort of claustrophobic to me and dense, as Julie and Jay were saying. And I mean, I'm not speaking to regulations or permits because I'm not aware of that. I'm just relating to my sense that it would close in, an area of the street that was more open.
Had been previously open.
Yes. And also, in my bedroom actually faces the street, is right on the street too, faces the street. So I don't know what effect that would have with more people coming in and out, but
is there a record of
one would assume that there would be more activity and noise and so on.
Is there a record of a house ever having existed on this lot?
Oh no, I think it was subdivided, wasn't it? Was this lot subdivided,
The
Joe?
lot was created.
The lot was created. Joe, this lot was subdivided from the lot 40?
Yeah, right. Mel Martin.
Yeah, remember Mel? Yeah.
Mel subdivided that off. I looked
Okay.
at that about 8 years ago.
Yeah, well, he called me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had
No.
both lots and sold the one with a house.
So you've had the delightful pleasure of having an open lot, in essence, in front of you for some time, and before it was subdivided, whenever that was, it was just a much larger lot with a single family. Well,
it was the same size that it is now. But
Yeah.
It was when the previous owners of that open space lot were planning to build. They were planning to build something set quite back from the street and much smaller, and we found that completely acceptable.
Yeah, and it wouldn't work. They couldn't do it because of the money and the whole thing. That's what I was trying to. Yeah, I saw that plan. It was nice, but it wasn't economically feasible for the people. That's why they couldn't do it. They lost a lot of money. It was a sad thing, but that's why he's up faced with what he is. He's got the same problem. He did want a duplex. I just want to let you, just in his defense, he's a really nice guy. He wanted the duplex. He came to me. I priced out a duplex. I permitted a duplex. When I was drawing it up, he said, my mom doesn't want the basement or the third floor. Is there anything else I can do with it? And I said, well, you know what you should do? You should rent it out. Brattleboro needs apartments. This is brand new. It would give you a nice little income. And he said, well, maybe. And I said, make your house worth more money. And everybody else in the street has been able to do it. So, you're certainly welcome to go down and try. And so I don't even think he's really going to rent it out, to be honest with you. But I can't say that.
but again, we're not interested in
they don't
the current owner.
That.
We're looking at the property.
Guys, but like he said, they don't care about,
it could be sold in 6 months, and then it'll be fully rented and used. So we look at the property. Thank you very much, John. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I don't know which way this board is going to vote on this thing at this point in time.
Yep.
But something is, one obvious thing to say is that a 3-unit apartment or 3-unit development does a number of things. The first is it's conforming for lot size.
Yep.
The second is that it reduces the parking requirement by 1, which takes one of the cars out of the front lot, and it brings the density down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We're hearing from the neighbours here that they feel that density and parking and those types of things are an issue. You don't have an application in front of us today for a 3-unit development. You have one for a 4.
Right. I'd still like you to consider the 4.
Well, we'll.
Yeah.
We will, but I guess I'm sort of asking: is it should a 4 be declined?
Yeah.
Certainly, a 3.
Yep.
May well.
Yeah.
Just go through this board because it's number 1 conforming in space, and number 2 the parking thing comes down a little bit.
Yep.
So.
I'd like you to consider that if it's going to be
You would?
divided 4.
Okay.
I mean, the parking seems to be one of the bigger issues. Is that the 5 is the minimum requirement for a
for
building?
a 4? Well, it's no. It's one per unit plus 1 for every 3.
Okay.
So you need. If it was a 4, you need 4 plus 1. If it's a 3, you need 3 plus 1.
In reality, though, we have?
Technically, you just counted that wrong.
Did I?
Yeah.
Can you recount it for me?
Well, if it's a 4,
you need
and you
4.
need 1 for every unit plus 1 for every 3, then if it's a 4, technically you need 2 more on the 1 for every 3.
No.
Right?
No, it would have to be a 6.
Oh, you round down?
You round down,
okay.
yeah.
Well,
We round down.
I thought the last one we did.
Because we're encouraging people to walk.
You're right. Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is I don't know what the possibility of this is to not require the minimum on this one case.
Oh, you mean the parking?
Yeah.
We give them a parking waiver.
But no, what I said, is there a way to, even with 4 units, only do 4 parking spots? Or would that not? I know it would violate our minimums, but
we can mandate 4
Didn't we
parking
do
spots.
that on Wave Street, right?
You could do it, but people tend to have more.
But there is
cars,
on-street
so-
parking.
Yeah, but not in the winter.
Well, not in the winter, but
That's the issue. You have to have adequate.
I lived in one of these residential neighborhoods, and I called the town, and they said park it at the parking garage. However impractical that sounds for this neighborhood, I mean, it does. There are units that don't have the minimum number that they should.
Yeah, and usually they just park on the grass, so eventually everything gets turned into parking.
The most recent applications where we have dealt with parking issues, it's about the conflict between the need for additional housing, which we like to support, particularly small rentals, versus the need to get cars off the road for close on 6 months of the year. You have to come off the road so it can plough, and there's a dichotomy there in terms of where's the space if you can't be on the street?
Encouraging people not to drive, but then mandating the space for them to be able to park.
Particularly in these older neighborhoods where the density, the car was never planned for when they were built originally.
Yeah, the other thing, I don't know if you guys have to consider this or not, but have any other waivers been granted to people like the guy next door when he went to do 4 and had the same issues? And if you've done it for other people, does it come into kind of a thing?
It may guide the board a little, but we generally don't take precedent set by the neighbour or 1 street away or something like that.
Yeah.
We'll just look at each individual case.
Yeah.
It's our goal to decide these things fairly and equitably.
Yep.
So if everybody on the street had been granted a waiver for some reason or another, and then this one wasn't, then that we would take it into consideration. But I don't believe we've got a lot of single families on this road.
Yeah.
And we've also got.
Exists in the front of that house for landscaping.
Right now,
Yeah.
it's just a lawn. There was one tree in a lot in the middle of the lot that we had to take out.
Is that, are you going to return any trees?
She has big plans. The woman that's going to live in the front is going to put gardens and perennials, and you know, there'll probably be bushes and probably a little tree out there. She's got a lot of plans for it, so I think she's going to make it really
Is
nice.
the apron into the parking area 18 foot? Is that what I'm reading?
Yeah, I think that's what the town requires maximum.
18 foot's the curb cut.
Yeah, curb cut. I think that's what
That's the max curb cut.
That's the maximum.
Yeah.
It looks like the parking surface, let's call it surface for a second,
Yeah.
is 25 foot wide. So it goes 18 out to 25.
And you do have a grassy area of 3 or 4 feet on the curb, right?
Yeah, and actually, I think, you know, I was actually, I can't remember this girl's name, but I was telling Judith maybe we could put a fence or something. And then I just thought about it. We could easily put like an evergreen or something on the grass spot behind the last car. So, you know, there's more room than it looks like on this drawing. I could easily slide these 2 parking up and put a little green patch there with a tree in it or something. It looked nice. It blocked the cars back there, and it would add some vegetation on the right. And so it wouldn't be
18-foot mouth over a little bit, so you'd split the green.
Yeah, well,
sides?
actually, we would slide it over a little because there's a telephone pole there, and we'd get away from it a little more. But behind the pole, it would end up creating a pretty big area that we could put a nice, you know, blue spruce or
Are you
something in
saying
there.
you could screen out on the
That's what I mean. I
face
could screen out
to
at the
try
front,
and-
so you wouldn't see back in there. Is good.
Something tall enough.
You go up through
third-story windows.
Winter Street, and you can see on Winter Street, we built 1 on Chestnut, 2 on Winter, 3 on Winter. And you go up, you drive down Winter Street, and they're the nicest houses on Winter Street. And so I mean, we're going to make sure we do this really nice.
I don't think they're questioning the look.
But their value of their house will go up too with it because it's you know somebody's going to.
He's promising.
Well, I'm a builder too.
Okay, let's stay on. David.
This parking lot, is there any sort of divider between what's going to be the asphalt and what's going to be the porch? Because right now it looks like the asphalt's just going to go right up to the building.
Well, he's not doing asphalt for one that I know of, but
It doesn't say paved on there, right?
It says driveway.
Right.
it said driveway. He could pave it though, so the point's the same. You know, you could put a little strip of vegetation in front of the porch, but you know, in the wintertime plowing, and I think it'd probably be more of a problem, but maybe not. Maybe it would look good.
Yeah, I'm
You
just
know,
worried about
that's-
the neighborhood aesthetics of having a building smack on into a parking lot.
Yeah, where the pavement goes right into
Right
the building.
up to the building.
I see what you mean.
And
yeah.
That was one of our concerns on another thing. But does he have any idea of what he's going to do, whether it's going to be stone or asphalt or?
It's probably going to be SurePack, which is dirt, sort of like, but it looks like asphalt, but it's clean. It's like a nice gravel.
Hard surface that's plowed.
Yes, and you know, I mean, maybe they will want to put a nice row of shrubs along there, along the porch to break it up and stuff. Might be good. So,
Brian, ask a question. Technical
yeah, it's not
question.
going to look like a big pavement. Excuse me, it's not going to look like a big black paved parking lot. It's only 20 feet wide.
Should the board decide to not approve this application, does the applicant or the owner have to come back in and apply separately for a 3-unit? Or could we approve a 3-unit now? It's not been warned for a 3-unit.
You'd be approving before with a condition that it'd be 3, isn't that what it was? If that's what you're trying to do?
if that, well, I'm just saying that I'm not sure where the sentiment is right now, but
Or do we have to vote up or down on 4? And that's it?
I think you could modify it so it would be 3 because it's a less intense use than the 4.
Since 3 would be conforming, why does it have to come back to us?
parking,
It still needs a site plan.
Site
right?
plan.
Yeah.
site plan, yeah.
So,
And do we do that with the at the request of the applicant, or do we do that just because we feel like it? We could say we can modify it to 3. Should we choose to, we can modify it to 3, and just be done with it.
I think you could do 2 votes, one whether you're going to approve it as a 4 unit, and then if not, see if you'll approve it as a 3 unit.
I think that.
That's the way I would prefer
To vote to
stick with our original decision, and if necessary, then step 2. I mean, with the original warning.
yes. Okay.
I'll
Any-
confirm with the town attorney to make sure that it is permissible to do it that way.
We did that on Main Street. We went at 8 and we did 6 or something, or 7.
Okay. There's one other aspect of this that, in terms of what's the coverage on this lot? Do we know? Is it? It conforms.
It conforms.
It conforms.
Yeah, it
Coverage
conforms
conforms.
pretty easy. I got it here.
Okay, so I think one of the things I'd like to do is that the front yard setback, we'll look for pervious pavement. Whichever way this vote goes, we'll look for a pervious pavement in the front yard setback, even if you end up parking cars on it.
Okay.
Depending on how it goes.
Yep.
So that's whatever the front yard setback is.
well, you
Okay.
just said pervious pavement, but it could also be grass pavers or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
It
some
doesn't have to be
pervious.
Pervious asphalt. Right?
Yeah. It just doesn't have to be pervious asphalt.
Right.
What's the phrase? A pervious system.
Yeah, the pervious asphalt actually hasn't been working
Yeah,
incredibly well.
Right, but those grass pavers like they used at Hampton Inn, that sort of stuff.
Whatever.
Reinforced grass paving area. They just did it another place there. Just recently here too.
Okay.
It seems to work.
So they won't be able to blacktop their yard? if
Not
they
over
want
that
to?
area, no.
Okay.
But you can use, should you do it, you can use those pavers and they're fine.
Yeah. Yep.
And then from once you get inside the setback, I mean, the pavers work. The grass grows through them. You run the lawnmower over it. It looks like it. Even if you
Nice.
park on top of it, it's a little. It's firm.
Yep.
You're not going to churn it all up.
Yep.
The cars are going to churn it up. And then behind that could be a short pack surface or whatever the owner requires or wishes. All right. So
Can I ask you one more question?
yes.
Did you draw a trash dumpster? Was there trash? Where are they going to do trash on there?
They all got spots in their apartments for
respective
trash.
homes?
Yeah, and they're going to bring it out by the road on Tuesdays
trash,
or
yeah.
whatever. It's the same as everybody else on the street. It must be trash pickup there.
Right, 4 family and down will be good.
Place down the road, they just
Right,
bring it out on Thursdays or whatever.
5 and up doesn't get it, right?
The town picks up for how many residences?
Up to 4.
Four.
Up to 4?
Yeah.
5.
Okay.
Is it 5?
No, up to 4.
4. 5 and over, you
Five
have
and
to have
over
a
is-
commercial
Okay.
pickup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so any further discussion? Okay, I'm looking for a motion to approve application 2013-087, a request for to convert a duplex to a 4-dwelling unit, which requires a waiver of dimensional standards from 9,580 to 10,000 square feet, and requires parking in the front yard setback.
Second.
I need a. Did
Motion
somebody?
approved, second.
Second.
I meant who?
Are we
Who?
voting? All
Yeah,
those in
no,
favor?
no, yeah. Who proposed the? I'm looking for a motion. Who?
Oh, okay, I'll motion then.
Okay, Spoon is proposing it. You're seconding it. Okay, all those in favour?
Aye.
4. Those against? 1. I abstain. It's a 4-unit development.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn? Any other business? Second? Second. All those in favour? Thank you very much.